I'm Ashton Addison from EventChain for Investment Pitch Media and the Crypto Coin Show. And today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Jeremy Bourne, the CEO of NFT Genius. Jeremy, welcome to the show, and thanks for taking the time today.
Thanks for having me, Ashton. A little bit mobile today, so thanks for bearing with me.
Hey, no worries. And crypto's moving fast. We always got to be moving around. So I know you're hustling, and I really appreciate you taking the time today. And I would love to just start our conversation off with hearing a little bit on your background in the blockchain space and how that led you to starting NFT Genius.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I've been in crypto since about 2016. Didn't listen to my friend in 2014 when they said get in, buy Bitcoin. Didn't do it. So not as bad as somebody that their friend told them in 2010, I guess. So came into the space. I used to consult for Fortune 500, 100 brands, helping them with their digital marketing initiatives. So really helping just drive engagement in real time through their customers through geolocation and different types of mapping technologies. And then really got into really interesting things like artificial intelligence, machine learning, artificial intelligence as it relates to generating chatbots and conversational flow. So really started doing some cutting edge stuff, which was fun. And then doing a lot on the analytics side where machine learning would help predict the eventual outcomes. So you can create better predictions as to what your clientele would actually ultimately want. So as I'm doing this on the analytics side, I'm obviously working with some really incredible developers and people that are way smarter than me. And they're just saying, hey, you need to look at blockchain, you need to look at crypto. And I just said, okay, you know what? It's time. I need to take a second look and I need to get in. What I saw was atrocious, right? The UIs and everything were just terrible, right? It looked like it was stuck in 1992. And the data was all over the place. It was a mess. So I just came in the space and just said, you know what? If I can take a small part in helping clean up the mess and creating some sort of less controversy and less, conflicting information, right? The price of Bitcoin still, is different across every exchange. It's not, one human, for one price. But the analytics platform we were trying to build under Coin Genius was really setting out to help clean up that data and create consistency. Then we got into the event space and we started doing some interesting things around events called collective intelligence, bringing people together in the crypto space. And then NFTs was born, right? And I started getting into NFTs and started listening and learning and put on something called NFT Day. Once again, is just to try to bring together some of the brightest minds in the space and just to absorb and learn about what's happening and why this was such a transformational technology like cryptocurrency. So as soon as I caught the bug of NFTs, I feel like it was worse than the crypto bug in the sense that I come from the digital background. I come from digital content and content creation. So for me, this made a lot of sense, and I saw so many opportunities in the space. So I decided to just dive in. And what better way to dive in than create your own product and brand? So we created something called Bitcoin Origins, which was really the first time that anybody tried to kind of take on storytelling and merge it together with NFTs. So we did that, and I think we did it pretty effectively on the Wax blockchain. That was a blockchain that wasn't necessarily built for high-priced items, kind of like Ethereum. So we took a crack at it and being like the kind of the upper echelon of that, that side of the house, and created a really scarce product around an incredible story, which is really telling the story of Bitcoin from the inception of the creation of the white paper all the way until today. And we're telling that story. We're on moment 5 out of 15. We've booked a couple $1 million in revenue and generated a lot of attention. And now we're kind of known as like the high-end art storytellers of the crypto space. So it's pretty exciting.
Very cool, Jeremy. And yeah, I've been familiar with Coin Genius when you were working with that before NFT Genius started, and I think now is the perfect time as NFTs are really just growing and expanding into the mainstream, and adding that storytelling aspect is just, it makes a huge difference because there's a lot of people that are just creating NFTs that they don't really have a lot of meaning, right? And you need to have that long-lasting underlying value. And I think that what you're doing with Bitcoin Origins is something that is the start of something great. Now,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I wanted you to just touch a little bit further on, turning these NFTs into stories. Is it really, when people see NFTs, they either see just a picture or an animated GIF, and trying to find value beyond that can be hard unless you really build a story around it. And I wanted to hear a little bit of further insights into Bitcoin Origins and how you've added the stories into NFTs.
Yeah, sure. So for us, NFTs really are art, right, in some capacity, but they're more than that. And I think people miss the boat in terms of like what's possible. For us, we look at it, and I'm taking a quote from William Quigley, who's the CEO of Wax, which he always says, NFTs are mini supercomputers. You can program them just like, you can program crypto to do whatever you want. In the same way, you can program NFTs to do whatever you want. They can evolve over time. They can create new NFTs, after a certain time, point in time, right? After it's traded 50 times, maybe it turns or morphs into something else. You can tie it to real-time analytics, and, perhaps the NFT can morph based on the analytics. Think of fantasy sports. So really the sky's the limit in terms of what you can do. So we're just trying to figure out, like, how do we get in and start telling a story to eventually grow or evolve into something like that? So you do that with community, right? You do that by adding things like treasure hunts to the experience. So what we've done in each of the cards is we've actually hidden clues. So in each of the cards, there's a clue that you can find that kind of leads to a part in the story, to where if you get a card and somebody else gets a card, the whole story in the treasure hunt doesn't necessarily make sense unless you speak about it, unless you talk about it in the community. So that's given us and driven an organic community experience that I haven't really seen before, because at the end of it, there's one Bitcoin, and a whole Bitcoin is a prize. So you can win that together as a community or a small group, or you can win that as an individual. And it's a free to play model in the sense that you could go on Atomic Assets and you can look at the templates and you could see everything that we've released. So in theory, you don't have to buy anything if you don't want to. We love mobile games, and we love that, somebody could, in theory, beat Candy Crush without spending a dime. It sucks and it takes a lot longer, but you can do it. So we wanted to give that same opportunity to people, for them to come in, experience the art, experience the community, really free of charge, and, have a chance at buying it at one Bitcoin. So, we're at the end of our first chapter, which is, chapter 1 is called The Uprising, which is the fifth moment was just released. So we're really at the end here. So somebody's about to win the first Bitcoin. We've announced, because we've grown so much, that we're integrating more Bitcoin. So it's not just a one Bitcoin prize. There's going to be multiple Bitcoin released throughout this journey. So pretty excited to see what happens and who ultimately wins this first Bitcoin.
That's really exciting. And yeah, one Bitcoin is a huge reward, especially with the appreciation in this last year. So I'm sure that's gathering a lot of attention to the NFT stories. And I'm curious, in terms of the actual NFTs, I know you mentioned there's a free-to-play model. You don't really need to be paying anything. For people that are collecting these NFTs and looking at, the marketplaces for them, are you doing primary releases of a limited edition amount of NFTs, and then are those also available to buy on NFT marketplaces like OpenSea and other marketplaces?
Yeah, no, good question. So this particular set is on the Wax blockchain. So the predominant place in which you can buy those in the secondary market is called Atomic Hub. There's others out there as well, but you actually do the main purchase. Our primary sale is done through our website at btcorigins.com. So we do a drop, so every moment we have a drop. We do it usually on a Friday. We have 3 different block sizes. So if you think about it, like we're doing packs basically, right? But ours are just blocks, just like blocks in the blockchain. So you can buy a block at $20. That gives you 1 card. You can buy a block at $200 or $250. That gives you a couple cards and some really special rare things. Or you can buy our highly coveted 4 megabyte block. And that one, goes for quite a bit on the secondary markets, just looking at history. So that one costs $500 each. And you get a number of different cards in there. You get a block reward, and, there's different parts of the story, and there's different clues that are associated with each of those blocks, and different redemptions and surprises that no one ever sees coming. And that's where we have fun. We try to keep the community engaged, and we try to throw, different, curves and twists and turns in the mix, because it gets people excited and gives them something to talk about. So, with that said, our drops are one thing, and then secondary market sales, like I said, mostly happen on things like Atomic Hub, where people are trading these or trying to complete sets. And, it's just great to see like some of these hardcore collectors coming out and really wanting to complete a moment or a set. We just released, the creation of Mount Gox, and to a lot of people that might have been there, it's really meaningful, right? And there's so many other incredible moments that just evoke this emotional response, in us. And when we hear about like Silk Road, or we hear about, all these different things that happen in Bitcoin's history, and each of them are going to speak differently to other people. And it's great that we have true collectors and people that literally are sitting here and they're like, I'm never selling. I want to collect a piece of Bitcoin history. And that to us was really special.
That is very special. And I think it's a great secondary part of the education of, the history of Bitcoin and how it's come to be as well. So I really like that. And you did mention you're working with Wax blockchain. I have had William Quigley from Wax on. I know they've been in NFTs for a long time, since they,
Yep.
for years. And I'm curious, since this huge craze of NFTs in the last year has really spiked, it's been a lot of NFTs on the Ethereum ecosystem. And I know that the Wax ecosystem is more efficient in terms of the costs and not having those Ethereum gas fees, which is a big, it's a barrier for people that are trying to purchase low value NFTs. If they're trying to spend $20, you can't really do that efficiently on the Ethereum ecosystem. Are you seeing advantages or disadvantages of using the Wax ecosystem versus Ethereum, or do you see them merging in the future? Or, how do you feel about the way that the technology behind how the Bitcoin Origins NFTs run?
I think there's a lot of really incredible technologies and solutions out there that are addressing things that are problems with Ethereum. Wax is one of them. Wax, there's little no gas fees, right? They just have a completely different model where you're actually paying more for space than you are for an actual transaction fee. There's other ones like Flow, right? And we're doing some stuff on Flow as well. So, we're, as NFT Genius, platform agnostic and blockchain agnostic, we want to build where we think we're going to provide really good experiences. So Wax was our first go round, right? But we're going to have projects coming out, and you'll see some really big announcements coming out soon on other blockchains. Like I just mentioned, Flow. Like Flow is another great example of somebody who's really done well. Obviously NBA Top Shot was done on Flow, and their team's doing great. They've probably made more money in NFTs than really anybody. I think they're at about $500 million generated just from NBA Top Shot. They had a $60 million day. Which is incredible. They just raised over $300 million at an over $2 billion valuation. So, people are really getting the memo in terms of, what's possible with NFTs and blockchains like that solve a lot of the gas issues. And, there's a lot of controversy, obviously, around sustainability and environmental impact. And that's like a big, gripe with people on the Ethereum blockchain. Well, on Flow and on Wax, you don't have that issue. Yeah. Right. So it's not a part of the conversation. It's about just putting out product, like on Ethereum. If you wanted to sell 1 million, NFTs as an example, like let's just say you had, Drake, and he wanted to put out, a song, and there was 1 million people that wanted that song. To be able to sell 1 million units in just a few minutes is just really not possible on the Ethereum blockchain. It wasn't made for scaling, right? But on Wax, you can. On Flow, you can. And for us, that's really exciting. So that's a lot of what we're exploring and what we're building on.
It is very exciting, and I'm excited to see the expansion into Flow as Bitcoin Origins and NFT Genius just grows overall. And you did mention that this is only part one that you're just completing of the Bitcoin Origins and the first release of the first Bitcoin that you're rewarding, which is exciting. Can you give a glimpse into what's the timeline? Is it every week, and part two is coming out right away? How can people start getting involved with it?
Yeah, so a good way is just jumping into the community. So t.me/Bitcoin Origins is our official Telegram channel. We're going to open up a Discord here as well soon, because I know a lot of people like Discord, and there's just so many layers to what we're doing. It almost needs a Discord, because I think we have like 4 or 5 different channels, from sales channels to the hunt channels. But if you go on the hunt.btcorigins.com, that allows you to really understand where we are in the hunt for Bitcoin. And it's not even just a hunt for Bitcoin. These puzzles unlock things, right? So they unlock new moments. So they unlock a hidden card that nobody knew existed. There's things that have never been found to date, right? That maybe even date back to moment 2. And people don't even know about that until I just said it out loud. So this site actually helps you understand the sequential nature of where we are in the hunt, and how maybe you can jump in and participate and help the community, because anybody can help. Right? A lot of these interesting quests, if you will, end up on Google Maps, and it puts you in the middle of Africa, and you're actually trying to find a hidden symbol that exists somewhere on a building, right?
Wow.
So we kind of take you all around the world while trying to educate people about the history of Bitcoin and the history of money. And a lot of people don't even understand that in the background, that's what we're doing. We're taking you on a journey to help you understand fundamentally what Bitcoin is about. It's about way more than just money, and kind of changing the nature of where we are financially as an ecosystem, as a nation, as a world economy. There's more to it. It's about community. It's about trust, right? It's about taking away trust from centralized governing parties and putting the power back in the hands of the people. All of those lessons are being taught in very interesting ways in the community by some of the players that are on our team. So it's pretty exciting.
Definitely very exciting, Jeremy, and to be able to be orange pilling these people through gaming and through fun, I think is just genius, and that just goes to the name NFT
Thank you.
Genius. So I really do appreciate what your team is doing. I will leave those links that you mentioned for the community and the website and the hunt in the description box below for the viewers. All the best with the next releases of Bitcoin Origins. I will be following along. I'm sure the viewers will be as well, and let's follow up in the near future.
Yeah. Absolutely. One thing before we go, I just want to mention, I'm just going to put this out there. I haven't really talked about it out loud. We are building a music NFT marketplace. We are going to build this on Flow. This is the first time I'm talking about it, but because we're really good at telling stories, this has attracted a lot of attention, and musicians are coming in a major way. We have a passion for music. A lot of us on our team are actually musicians or past musicians. So we really want to put a lot behind this. So we're doing a lot of our focus and putting that directly on the music space and creating new and immersive experiences like never seen before in NFTs, and helping these artists create closer connections with their true fan base, not just with the crypto audience. Like, how do they actually appeal to and create these interactions with their fans through NFTs? Because we feel that NFTs are the future of collectibles, and we want artists and musicians to be able to come in a really thoughtful way, not just for the money grab, a thoughtful way to where it's sustainable. So you can look at it. It's going to be called Gaia. You can go to OnGaia, ONGAIA.com. You can sign up right now actually for early access. And once again, this is the first and early announcement of that on your podcast here.
Very cool, Jeremy. And for those people that listen to the end, I'm sure they're in for a treat for that. And I am excited. I will check that out right away. So all the best with all of these projects. And thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks, Ashton, for having me. Appreciate it. Have a good one.